Warner Brothers Discovery setting a special meeting date of March 20th and unanimously recommending shareholders vote for the Netflix merger, but it's giving Paramount an opportunity to negotiate a better deal. David Faber joins us now. David, all over the weekend, I saw other financial types all saying, look, there's things under the surface here going on in terms of Paramount and Warner Brothers, and something is likely to be happening. Can you make sense of what it actually means, David? If you were Kalshi, if it was David Kalshi, would your numbers on Netflix prevailing? Would that be going down on Netflix prevailing?
I think it would. Without a doubt, it would be going down. I think that's reflected in Warner Brothers stock price going up this morning, Joe, as well. They've got their 7 days. Now, interestingly, as you just noted, they did not get the could lead to a superior proposal that we might have thought they would, given the enhancements that Paramount made a week ago to its bid that seemed to address many of the concerns the Warner Brothers board had. But they did come up with the 7-day. They got the waiver from Netflix. Netflix, of course, continues to have its ability to match whatever it is that Paramount does come up with and come up to, so to speak, in the next 7 days, if they do. As was made clear in the press release, one of their advisors reached out to the board and indicated if they actively engage, as I expect they will this week, they will pay at least 31, if not more, because they indicated that's not best and final. So I certainly think in answer to that question, your odds have to go down on Netflix winning and up on Paramount. How much, you can make your own guess. Oh, look, I guess we have it, right? Because, we have a partnership with them, don't we? Yeah, so there it is. It's going to be an interesting 7 days, and will Paramount be able to address not just price, but also some of these other concerns that remain? Because even though they seem to address many of them, Warner Brothers has responded by saying, well, you said one thing in the press release announcing the enhancements, but in the merger agreement you offered us, you really haven't changed very much. Now, the Paramount side would say, well, when it comes to things like interim operating agreements, we can't put that language in there. We don't know exactly what it is. We have to talk to you. And a few other things. One of the main concerns remains this overall LBO structure question. That the state of the cable industry is such, and particularly for Paramount's cable networks, MTV, Nickelodeon, and the like, that things could continue to decline to such an extent that when you got to close, this would almost no longer be an ongoing entity. And therefore, how can we believe that they'll even be there at close? Or will they tell their banks to pull because they know it would just make them insolvent if they were to actually buy Warner Brothers at that point? And so they're still trying to say you got to figure something out there. What would that be? Maybe an agreement where Larry Ellison would agree to put in more equity in Paramount if, in fact, it was no longer an ongoing entity at the time of close. But they're getting closer here, Paramount would be, to at least getting their chance, Joe, to go best and final. Remember, of course, one of their complaints, whether rightly or wrongly, was, well, you didn't tell us at the end of the process that it was best and final. So they're getting that chance they've been seeking for a long time. We also know a timeline now, right? We got the 20th for the vote of March, the shareholder vote, so just about a month away. We've got this 7 days, and then they'll set up for sort of ISS, which continues to be important, the proxy advisory service, to weigh in as well a couple of weeks before that vote, whomever may be the deal may be with by at that point.
David, I remember opinion writers a couple of times said they needed to be convinced why Netflix really wanted those assets so much that it maybe didn't make sense. At the same time, it was made clear over the weekend that Warner Brothers was really walking a fine line because Netflix could bolt at any time, and that's what they were worried about. They might want to entertain a higher offer, but they certainly don't. That's why they've always said we love Netflix, we want to go with Netflix. Because they definitely don't want Netflix walking. But looking at that stock price,
yeah. If
I were Netflix, I'd be like, take her, she's mine, whatever that old movie was from the 60s. Can we look at the stock price? I mean,
it has been brutal. Now, they'll say, listen, there have been any other.
Warner Brothers, Netflix.
Right. Netflix, not Warner Brothers, Netflix. I do the same thing on my show. Yeah, there you go.
You do. Yeah, well, I don't,
but yeah, it's down 25%. Now, listen, the last bit lately, you had that weird sell-off on Friday because of that new app from ByteDance and other concerns about what video is going to look like in terms of AI and what you can create. But there's no doubt that stock has been hit hard. And I do wonder how disciplined Netflix will be if they're given the right to match because Paramount has reached an agreement of some kind with Warner Brothers, guys. So, we'll see what we get from them. They continue to say, nice to have, not a must have. I'm sure what that means exactly, I guess, if you take it seriously. But it's going to be an interesting 7 days that should conclude at least who is going to be the buyer here. Not the antitrust side, but at least who is going to be the buyer.
We didn't even talk about that. I'm wondering whether there's any undertones from the Trump administration. The conspiracy theorists would think that they might be, I don't know, intimating that we know how close the Ellisons are to the president.
Without a doubt, we've wanted that since the beginning. The president has said monopoly a number of times when he's been discussing Netflix, but I don't know where that leads, if anywhere.